Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you for having me here today, Jude. So, as you just heard, my name is Agnes Harding. I'm 19 years old and I want to be an astronaut. Yes, an astronaut. Growing up, I was always academic. I was sporty as well. I did netball, rounders, and athletics, but it was studying that really got my pulse racing. I found learning really exciting because while I couldn't necessarily control the outcome of my netball game, I wasn't the best player. If I worked really hard, I could control my academic achievements. Also, I thought. So this time last year, I should have been sitting in my university lecture theatre, beginning my journey to securing a better future for me and my family. I did well in my A-levels in 2016, achieving 3 A's in physics, maths and chemistry. And I'd secured a place at the University of Manchester to study physics with astrophysics. I thought I was on my way. My family were really excited as none of us had been to university before. Shout out to my parents out there. But it was then that I came back to earth with a bump. Despite having the grades, I wasn't able to take up my place at university. And over the last year, the closest thing I've come to studying the planets is sampling Mars bars in my local Tesco's. So why couldn't I go to university? Well, I have lived in this country since I was 4 years old. My family and I are here lawfully, but under the government rules, my immigration status means that I'm classed as an international student rather than a home student. So this means that I don't qualify for a student loan and could be charged much higher international fees, something like £21,000 a year. Without a student loan, without a student loan, I just could not afford to go to university. So last summer, I became involved with the Let Us Learn campaign. A few people over there. We are campaigning for universities to create special scholarships so that ambitious young migrants like us can take up our places to study. So quite a few universities have already agreed to do so. Fortunately, not Manchester just yet. But finding out I couldn't take up my place at university was a big setback, but my ambition was too strong for me to give up my dream. Since then, I've done everything in my power to make it a possibility. So I spent the past year working at Tesco's, Boots, and elsewhere, saving every last penny that I could. Also, a GoFundMe crowdfunding account was opened for me last February by a relative, and as of now, we've managed to raise over £14,000 in donations to go towards funding my university education. So yeah, I have travelled a long way to speak to you here today. Not from space, not just yet, but I've come from Manchester. So I began my physics course 3 weeks ago and I absolutely love it. It's been such a long time coming and I still can't believe I'm there every morning that I wake up. And yeah, I've even joined the women's campaign actually to carry on my campaigning drive at the society. But yeah, I was able to take the 14K from the crowdfunding plus money that I've saved to pay for my first year and a half of my second year's tuition fees. My parents have been saving as well to help pay for my accommodation. And I also work alongside my studies. And I'm also still fundraising in any way I can to cover the rest of my fees. So I've gotten this far and I won't stop fighting until I'm holding my first class physics degree in my hand. Yeah. They say that the sky is the limit, but I believe that for me, it really isn't. Only 25% of graduates in STEM subjects, that being science, technology, engineering, and maths, are women. When I was your age, there wasn't a shadow of a doubt in my mind. I'd finish my A-levels, go to uni, and do what I love. I didn't see any barriers to me fulfilling my potential to the highest degree. I was the only girl in my year 13 physics class with 5 other boys, but that didn't bother me. I had so much encouragement from my family and my school that I knew I could do it. They believed in me, and so I believed in me. Even now, I'm one of no more than about 60 females in my course this year, out of 318 students. Problem? No. I know that I'm up for any challenge set before me. So there are lots of other would-be scientists, engineers, biochemists, mathematicians involved in Let Us Learn, and they were also encouraged to follow their dreams, but without student finance, they are stuck at the moment like I was. Not so long ago, a few of us went to see the film Hidden Figures at a private screening. If you've not heard about it, it's a film about 3 amazing African-American women who worked for NASA, the American Space Agency, during the 1960s. They were brilliant scientists who played a key role in getting the first American man into space, despite facing serious prejudice because of the fact they were black women. We all came out of the cinema feeling a foot taller and just completely inspired. If any of us ever doubted that we would ever achieve our ambitions, watching this film convinced us that we could. Sorry, I'm nearly done. These American women had far greater obstacles than we will ever face, and yet they helped change the course of scientific history. If they could do it, I know I can. If you haven't seen it, I really, really recommend that you do. I actually have the Hidden Figures poster hanging from my wall at uni this very minute, and anytime I'm struggling, I just look to it and remember that this is what I've come so far and have been fighting so hard to achieve. And days like today are just so important because they allow us to celebrate what it means to be a girl, and at the same time highlight our struggles and how we can overcome them, so that we can be given as good a chance to be great as our male counterparts. So, to summarize, what I want is for girls to be encouraged, like I was, to reach for the stars and beyond. And I want the only thing to be holding us back to be gravity. Thank you.